I never thought I'd be the guy who ended up in one of those relationship drama stories, but here I am. My name is Jake, and I'm just your average guy, a software engineer living in Portland, Oregon with my wife, Lisa. We've been married for 6 years. At least I thought we had until everything crashed down around me like a poorly designed app. For the longest time, things were great. Lisa was a marketing manager at a local firm, and we had a comfortable life together. We shared the kind of relationship that was built on mutual respect, or so I thought. We had our little routines. Monday night was pizza and Netflix, Wednesday was our trivia night with friends, and Friday was date night. But lately I noticed something changing. It started with her long hours at work. She claimed they were working on a big project, but I could sense the distance growing between us. There were little signs, too. She started dressing differently, like she was trying to impress someone. Gone were the comfy sweaters and yoga pants. Now it was all tight dresses and high heels that she would flaunt. When I asked about it, she brushed it off, saying she was just trying to feel more confident. I thought it was nice that she was putting effort into her appearance, but something felt off. The real turning point came on a random Tuesday evening. I was working late and Lisa texted me, saying she'd be home late because of a quick meeting with a client. I didn't think much of it. I had a few more hours of coding to do, so I just settled into my work. But as I was wrapping up, something compelled me to check her Instagram. There it was, a picture of her at a local art gallery, and guess who was in it? A fashion designer named Alex, who just so happened to be the talk of the town for his extravagant pieces. They were all smiles, and the caption read, "Had the best time with this one. Thanks for the inspiration, Alex." I felt something cold wash over me. I didn't know what to say or think. It was like the world had shifted under my feet. Was my wife cheating on me? I had never been the jealous type, but this hit me like a ton of bricks. How could she be so careless about posting this? I stared at the screen, my heart racing, feeling a mix of anger and disbelief. I tried to keep my cool until she got home. It was hard, but I had a plan. As soon as she walked through the door, I could tell she was in a good mood. She kissed me, and I felt a pang of rage mixed with love. I wanted to believe it was all innocent, but deep down I knew better. "Hey, how was your meeting?" I asked casually, trying to mask the storm inside me. "Super productive," she replied, practically glowing. "We're launching a new campaign next week, and I think it's going to be a hit." "Cool," I said, trying to sound interested. "I saw your post with Alex." Her smile faded for a split second, and I could see the panic in her eyes. "Oh, that was just a work thing. He's helping with our campaign's visuals, nothing else." But there was something in her voice that felt off, too rehearsed. I pressed on. "It looked like you were having a lot of fun." "You?" "Sure, it was just professional." She hesitated, and in that pause I felt my heart drop. I could see the wheels spinning in her head. "Come on, Jake. You know how it is in the industry. We have to network, and Alex is a big deal right now." I could tell she was lying, and her excuses felt flimsy. It wasn't just a meeting. She was trying to convince me of something that felt so wrong. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "So, are you sleeping with him?" The question hung in the air. Her eyes widened, and for a moment I thought she might tell the truth. But that moment passed, and she laughed, a hollow sound. "What? Of course not. That's ridiculous. You're being paranoid." But the way she brushed it off felt like a slap to my face. I was losing her to a guy with a fancy title and a knack for making her feel special. I could feel the anger boiling inside me, but I didn't want to explode. Instead, I decided to take a different approach. If she wanted to play games, I'd play too, but with my own set of rules. I needed a plan, a way to reclaim the respect I felt slipping through my fingers. I was determined to show her what she was losing. After all, if she wanted a new life with someone else, maybe it was time for me to upgrade my own. I started to think about my wardrobe. I had always been the guy in jeans and tees, but now it was time to change that. I was going to show her that I could be the catch she'd wanted all along. With that thought in mind, I set out to reinvent myself. I didn't know how far I would take this, but something told me that it was going to be a wild ride. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of my journey toward revenge and self-discovery. The next morning, I woke up with a plan in mind. I was going to completely overhaul my image. No more baggy jeans and old band t-shirts. I wanted to make a statement, not just for Lisa, but for myself. I wanted to feel good again, to regain that sense of confidence that her betrayal had. Shaken, I started with my wardrobe. After a quick breakfast, I hopped into my car and drove to the local mall. My first stop was a trendy men's clothing store that I had always passed but never entered. I felt a little out of place as I walked in, surrounded by racks of stylish clothes that looked like they belonged on a runway rather than in my closet. A sales associate approached me, a young guy with perfectly styled hair and a fitted shirt. "Can I help you?" he asked with a smirk, clearly sizing me up. "Yeah, I need a complete makeover," I replied, trying to sound confident. "I want to look sharp, something that makes an impression." He raised an eyebrow and grinned. "Let's get started then. I have just the thing for you." He pulled out a couple of fitted blazers, some tailored pants, and even a few stylish dress shirts. I was surprised at how good they looked on me when I tried them on. I hadn't realized how much I had neglected my appearance. As I stood in front of the mirror, I could see the potential. I looked different, more refined, more put together. After spending way too much money on clothes I never would have considered before, I left the store feeling like a new man. The clothes were just the beginning. I also signed up for a gym membership on my way home. I was determined to sculpt my body back into shape. I had let myself go a bit over the years, but if I was going to compete with a guy like Alex, I needed to step it up. Over the next few weeks, I transformed not just my wardrobe but also my mindset. I hit the gym 5 days a week, focused on my diet, and even took the time to learn about grooming. I might have been late to the game, but I was all in. I wanted to be the best version of myself, not for Lisa, but for me. As I settled into my new routine, I also started to notice other changes in my life. My confidence began to soar. I found myself smiling more, chatting with people at the gym, and even making new friends. I was no longer the guy who let life happen to him. I was taking charge. One night, as I was getting ready for our weekly trivia night, I put on a new fitted blazer paired with some stylish dark jeans. I felt good. I hoped Lisa would notice the change, but I also knew this was about more than just her. I was reclaiming my identity. When she walked into the living room, her eyes widened. "Wow, you look great," she gushed, and I could hear a hint of surprise in her voice. She was definitely not used to seeing me like this. "Thanks," I said casually, trying to play it cool. "Thought I'd dress up a bit for trivia." As we drove to the bar, I noticed Lisa's demeanor changing. She was a bit more chatty, and I could tell she was trying to impress me with her own stories from work. I put on a smile, playing the part of the attentive husband, but inside, I was plotting my next moves. While we were at trivia, I couldn't help but catch the glances Lisa shot my way. It felt like she was seeing me for the first time again, and that was both empowering and frustrating. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she was losing, but my focus wasn't solely on her. After our trivia night, I had the opportunity to talk to a few new friends I'd made at the gym. They were a great group and had introduced me to a local social scene that I hadn't been part of before. One of them, Mark, was a graphic designer and shared a similar story of betrayal. His advice was straightforward. "Dude, don't let her see you sweat. Let her see you thrive." I took that to heart. I was done being the guy who was just along for the ride. I wanted to thrive, and in doing so, I hoped to make Lisa realize that her choices had consequences. The more I invested in myself, the more I could feel the shift in our household dynamic. I could tell Lisa was starting to feel uneasy, almost threatened by the new me. I was getting more attention from new friends and even from women at the gym. Sure, I wasn't looking for anyone else, but it felt good to be noticed again. It was exhilarating to feel like I had options. As the weeks went by, I noticed that Lisa's phone was glued to her hand. She was texting a lot more, and I could feel the tension build with every secretive glance she threw at her screen. It was clear something was off, and the nagging feeling in my gut only intensified. Ultimately, I decided that I wasn't just going to wait around for her to come clean. I needed to confront the situation again, but this time I felt empowered to do so from a position of strength. I had flipped the script, and I was ready for whatever was next. Little did I know that my confrontational spirit would soon lead to a cascade of revelations, and the next step in my transformation was just around the corner. I was more than prepared to face the truth head-on, and I had a feeling that Lisa's days of lying were numbered. The tension between Lisa and me had reached a boiling point. I could feel the unease in the air, and it was hard to ignore the fact that she was hiding something. Her late nights, the secretive texts, and the way she would flinch when I casually asked about her day, it all added up to a recipe for disaster. I had changed drastically, and she was now treating me differently, almost as if she was scared of what I might say or do. One Friday evening, after a particularly grueling week, I decided it was time to confront her again. I had been thinking about it all week, weighing my options, and I knew I couldn't let this go on any longer. I wanted closure, whether that meant salvaging our marriage or finally letting go. I waited for her to come home from work, and when she walked in, I could tell she was acting differently. She was excited, but there was a nervous energy about her that I couldn't shake. "Hey, babe, you'll never guess what happened today," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "Actually, I think I might have a pretty good idea," I said, my tone steady but firm. "We need to talk." Her face fell, and I saw a flicker of panic cross her features. "Talk about what?" "About you and Alex," I replied, watching her carefully. "I saw the pictures, and I can't just pretend everything is fine between us anymore. You're hiding something, and I need you to be honest with me." She inhaled sharply, and I could see her weighing her options. The excuses she'd been using before were starting to crumble under the weight of my newfound confidence. "Jake, it's not what you think. Alex is just a friend. I told you he's working with our team on the campaign. It's all professional." "Professional," I echoed, my voice rising slightly. "Lisa, you're texting him all the time, and you've changed so much. It's not just work. I need you to tell me the truth." She shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting away from mine. "You're being paranoid," she shot back defensively. "I'm just trying to do my job. Why are you making this about something else?" "Because it feels like something else," I said, my heart racing. "You're not the same person I married. It's clear that you're hiding something from me, and I deserve to know what's going on." Finally, she snapped. "You think you can just change your wardrobe, and suddenly I'm supposed to be head over heels for you again. It's not that simple." Her words stung, but I stood my ground. "This isn't about me trying to impress you. This is about trust, something you've shattered. I deserve honesty, and if you can't give it to me, I need to know why." There was a moment of silence, the tension hanging thick in the air. I could see the tears forming in her eyes, but I wasn't about to back down. "Just tell me, Lisa, are you having an affair with him?" At that moment she broke. "No, I'm not having an affair," she yelled, but I could see the cracks in her facade. "But maybe I'm just not happy anymore. Maybe I need something different." Her admission hit me like a gut punch. "So you're telling me that instead of talking to me about it, you decided to run off and flirt with someone else?" "It's not like that. Alex makes me feel alive, Jake. I feel like I'm drowning in this life sometimes." She screamed, her voice cracking. "It's not about you. It's about me." I shook my head, trying to process what she was saying. "So you've been flirting with him, and that's fine. You don't think that's crossing a line?" "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, her voice softer now. "He's charming, and it just happened. I didn't plan it." "Lisa, you can't just excuse your actions like that. You need to take responsibility for what's going on. You're tearing us apart." She looked defeated, and I could see the fight leaving her. "You're right. I shouldn't have let it get this far. I didn't want to hurt you, but I felt so lost." Her apology felt hollow, and I wasn't sure if I could trust her anymore. "What about us?" I asked, my voice quieter now. "Do you even want to work on this?" "I don't know," she admitted, her eyes downcast. "I thought I could fix everything on my own, but I realize now that I can't. I don't know who I am anymore." At that moment, a wave of sadness washed over me. I no longer recognized the woman in front of me. This was not the Lisa I had married, the one who shared my dreams and built a future together. I was staring at someone who felt lost, broken, and I couldn't help but wonder if I could still reach her. "I think we need to take a break," I said, the words feeling heavy. "You need to figure out what you want, and I need time to think about if I can forgive you for what you've done." Her face fell, and for a moment she looked like she might cry again. "Jake, please don't say that. I didn't mean to hurt you. I love you." "Love isn't enough if you're willing to betray it," I replied. "I can't keep pretending that everything is fine. I need to protect myself too." The confrontation left us both raw and exposed. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. I wanted to save us, but I wasn't sure if that was even possible. After a long, tense silence, she finally nodded. "Okay, I understand. I need to figure out my life, and so do you." As she left the room to gather her things, I felt a strange sense of empowerment. I had confronted her, just as I had planned, and it felt liberating. My journey of self-discovery had led me to this moment, and now it was time to see where it would take me next. I was ready to reclaim my life, whether that meant moving on or trying to salvage our marriage. But first, I had to see what I was truly capable of without her. The road ahead was uncertain, but I knew one thing for sure. I was no longer just the guy in the background. I was ready to take charge of my destiny. After Lisa left that evening, I felt an unsettling mix of freedom and loneliness. It was strange. One moment I was filled with this rush of empowerment, and the next I was staring at the empty space beside me in bed, haunted by the memories of our life together. I had confronted her, and even though the outcome wasn't what I'd hoped, I felt proud of myself for standing my ground. In the days that followed, I dove deeper into my new routine. I hit the gym harder than before, pushing myself each day. I wanted to channel my pain into something productive, something that would strengthen me from the inside out. I felt like I was slowly rebuilding not just my body, but my mind too. I even started exploring new hobbies. I had always been a bit of a homebody, but with newfound confidence I tried salsa dancing classes. It was an exhilarating experience. I was awful at first, stumbling over my own feet, but with each lesson I grew more comfortable. The laughter and camaraderie in the class helped fill the void left by Lisa's absence. I was meeting new people, making friends, and for the first time in a long while I felt alive. But then there were moments when the reality of my situation would hit me like a wave. I'd find myself in the grocery store, reaching for a box of our favorite cereal, only to remember that Lisa wasn't there to share breakfast with me. I'd catch myself scrolling through my phone, wanting to text her about a funny meme or a random thought, before realizing that those days were over. One Saturday, I decided to take a stroll through a local art fair. As I walked among the booths filled with paintings and crafts, I stumbled across a booth run by none other than Alex. My heart raced as I recognized him, standing there with a confident smile, chatting with potential buyers. He was every bit the charismatic designer I'd seen in those Instagram photos, charming and full of life. I felt an overwhelming urge to confront him, to demand what he saw in Lisa that I didn't. But a different feeling coursed through me instead, a realization that I didn't need to engage with him. No longer did I feel like the lesser man in this scenario. Instead, I took a deep breath and walked past his booth, holding my head high. I was reclaiming my power, and it felt good. Later that evening, after a long day, I decided to check my phone. I hadn't heard from Lisa in a few days, and while I didn't want to reach out first, part of me was curious about how she was doing. Just as I was about to put my phone down, a message popped up. It was from Lisa. "Hey, can we talk? I miss you." My heart raced again, but this time it was a mix of anger and longing. I had spent so much time working on myself, trying to move forward, and now she wanted to pull me back into her world. With a quick breath, I decided to respond. "Are you ready to talk about everything? Because I'm not interested in going back to how things were." The response came almost instantly. "I know, and I don't want that either. I just want a chance to explain myself." A part of me wanted to ignore her, to continue living my new life without her, but the other part was still tethered to the memories we had shared. After a few moments of contemplation, I typed back, "Okay, let's meet tomorrow. Just know that I'm not sure what the future holds." We agreed to meet at a local cafe, a place that used to be one of our favorites. The next day, I arrived early and sat at a table in the corner, nursing a cup of coffee while I waited. My heart raced as I thought about what this meeting could mean. Would she take responsibility for her actions? Was there any chance of reconciliation? When Lisa arrived, she looked different, more vulnerable than I had ever seen her. Her eyes were puffy, and she wore a simple sweater and jeans, a stark contrast to the glamorous outfits I'd seen her in lately. She approached me cautiously, and as she sat down, there was an awkward silence between us. "Hey," she said softly, looking down at her hands. "Hey." For a moment we just sat there, the weight of our shared history hanging in the air. Finally she spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm sorry for how I handled everything. I didn't mean for it to spiral out of control, but I was so caught up in my own feelings that I lost sight of what mattered most. Your feelings. You didn't think about mine at all when you were flirting with Alex." I shot back, trying to hold my composure. "I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I wanted you to know that I realize how much I hurt you. I've been seeing a therapist to talk about my issues, why I felt the need to seek validation outside our marriage," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. I could see the sincerity in her eyes, but I wasn't ready to let my guard down completely. "You're saying all the right things, but it feels like too little too late, Lisa. I've worked hard to find myself again, and I don't know if I can go back to what we had." "I understand. I don't want to go back either," she replied, her voice stronger now. "I want to be better for myself and maybe for us if you're open to it. I miss what we had and I miss you." As I listened to her, I felt a flicker of hope mixed with skepticism. Could she really change? Could we rebuild from the ashes of our shattered trust? I wasn't sure, but I could see that she was genuinely remorseful. "I think I need time to process all of this," I finally said. "I'm not ready to jump back into anything. I need to put myself first for a while." "That's fair," she replied, her expression softening. "I'll give you whatever space you need. Just know that I'm committed to working on myself, and I hope that we can find a way to rebuild our connection." As we talked, I could see a glimpse of the woman I once loved, but I also knew that it would take time and effort from both of us to figure things out. I wasn't ready to commit to anything yet, but I couldn't deny the shift in the air. This was a new chapter, and even if it wasn't the one I initially wanted, it was a step toward understanding and healing, not just for Lisa, but for me as well. I left the cafe feeling a mixture of uncertainty and hope, knowing that the journey ahead would be long and winding. But I was ready to face it head-on, no matter where it took me. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of emotions. Lisa and I maintained open communication, but I kept my distance, setting firm boundaries. I was determined to focus on my own growth while navigating the complexities of our situation. We met up occasionally, and each time felt like an emotional balancing act, one moment filled with hope and warmth, the next immobilizing doubt and fear. I continued my routine, diving deeper into the gym and my new hobbies. I found solace in dancing, where I learned to let go of my worries. The rhythm became my escape, and I started to enjoy life without the constant shadow of Lisa's betrayal looming over me. I embraced the new friendships I had made, and the camaraderie in my dance classes was revitalizing. On some evenings, I'd go out with Mark and a few others from the gym. We explored new bars and restaurants, and I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't experienced in years. I remembered what it felt like to be a part of the world, to laugh openly, and to enjoy the little things. With every step I took away from my old life, I felt more empowered. But then there were nights when I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, mind racing. I'd think about Lisa and the life we had built together. Memories of our good times would flood in, the trips we took, the laughter we shared, the dreams we had for the future. I would replay her words, the way she had said she was lost, and the flicker of hope I felt during our conversations. I wanted to believe she was serious about changing, but doubt lingered in the back of my mind. One Saturday evening, I decided to attend a dance showcase where my class was performing. I was nervous but excited. It felt like a milestone, a celebration of my growth and newfound self-confidence. I arrived early and watched as the other dancers warmed up. The energy in the room was uplifting, and I found myself smiling as I mingled with my classmates. As the show began, I felt a rush of adrenaline. It was exhilarating to see everyone showcase their hard work, and when it was my turn, I felt the music take over. I poured everything I had into my performance, losing myself in the rhythm. The applause that followed was deafening, and I felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. After the show, I was riding high on endorphins when I spotted Lisa in the crowd. My heart sank. I hadn't expected her to show up, and the moment felt surreal. She approached me, her eyes shining with pride. "You were amazing, Jake. I didn't know you had it in you," she exclaimed, wrapping her arms around me in an unexpected embrace. I hesitated for a moment, surprised by her sudden appearance. "Thanks," I replied, trying to keep my composure. "What are you doing here? I wanted to see your performance. I'm really proud of you," she said, stepping back to look me in the eyes. There was a sincerity in her gaze that tugged at my heart. "Really? You came for me?" I asked, still caught off guard. "Of course. I want to support you," she said softly, a hint of vulnerability in her voice. "I know I messed up and I'm working on my issues, but I miss you." Her admission stirred something within me, a mix of longing and hurt. I could see the changes in her, the effort she was putting in, but could I truly trust her again? "I appreciate that, Lisa, but we still have a long way to go." "I know, and I'm willing to put in the work. I just want another chance," she said, her voice earnest. "I've been thinking about us and I want to make things right. I miss us." As I looked into her eyes, I felt a flicker of hope, but I also remembered the pain of betrayal. I needed to protect myself. "Let's take it slow, okay? I'm still figuring things out and I can't promise anything." She nodded, understanding my hesitation. "I get it. I don't want to rush anything. I just want to be part of your life again." That evening marked a turning point. We talked more than we had in weeks, sharing laughs and reminiscing about old memories. It felt good, but I was cautious. I had to remind myself that healing wouldn't happen overnight. In the following weeks, we met up regularly, gradually rebuilding our friendship. We shared meals, went for walks, and even visited places we used to enjoy together. Each encounter felt like a step forward, but I remained guarded. I wasn't ready to dive back into our romantic relationship, and I wasn't sure if I ever would be. While Lisa was working on herself, I also realized that I had to confront my own insecurities. I couldn't let the fear of being hurt again hold me back. I began to focus on what I wanted out of life moving forward: independence, self-fulfillment, and the possibility of love, whether that was with Lisa or someone else in the future. One evening, after a particularly enjoyable dinner, Lisa said something that caught me off guard. "You know, I've thought a lot about what I want in my life. I want to be authentic, and I want to support you in being authentic too." Her words resonated deeply. "What does that mean for us, Lisa?" "I think we need to be honest with ourselves and each other. If we're going to rebuild this, it has to be real and based on trust. I don't want to hide anything from you anymore." Her sincerity struck a chord, and for the first time I felt a sense of possibility. Maybe we could find our way back to each other, but it would take time and effort on both our parts. As I stepped into the new chapter of my life, I knew I had to tread carefully. The journey ahead was uncertain, but I was willing to explore, to find my way, and to see where it led. The evolution of my relationship with Lisa was just one aspect of a much larger journey of healing and growth, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. Little did I know that the final steps in my journey would push me further than I ever expected, testing my resolve and challenging everything I thought I knew about love and forgiveness. As the weeks rolled on, Lisa and I navigated our newly rekindled connection with a cautious optimism. We were learning to communicate more openly, sharing not just our hopes but also our fears. I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't foreseen. It was refreshing and terrifying all at once. One evening, I invited her over to my place for dinner. I had spent the day preparing a meal, something I used to do regularly before our lives had spiraled into chaos. When she arrived, the familiar warmth filled the air, tinged with the nervous energy of uncertainty. "Wow, it smells amazing," she exclaimed as she walked in, taking a deep breath of the delicious aromas. "Thanks, I hope you're hungry," I replied, trying to keep the mood light despite the weight of our history looming in the background. We sat down to eat and the conversation flowed easily. We laughed about our trivia nights, reminisced about past vacations, and shared stories about our new lives. It felt like the old days, but there was a newfound authenticity in our interactions. I could sense that we were both trying to make sense of our feelings. But then the conversation took a more serious turn. "Jake, I realize I've made a lot of mistakes and I can't take back the hurt I caused you," Lisa said, her expression shifting to one of sincerity. I just want you to know that I'm committed to making things right, but I also understand that I need to earn your trust back. I'm willing to do the work." Her honesty struck a chord. I had come to appreciate how far she had come, but the road to rebuilding trust would be long. "I want the same, Lisa. I want to be open and honest with you, but I need you to understand that it will take time for me to fully let go of what happened." "I understand completely," she replied, her voice steady yet soft, "and I'm here for whatever it takes." That night marked a significant shift. I felt the flicker of affection begin to rekindle between us, but I was still cautious. I needed to protect my heart while being open to the possibility of reconciliation. As the weeks progressed, our relationship continued to evolve. We started attending therapy together, which opened up new avenues for honest conversations. Our sessions encouraged us to confront the underlying issues we had both faced, and I began to see Lisa not just as the woman who had hurt me, but as a person navigating her own challenges. One evening after a particularly enlightening session, we walked through a nearby park, the sun setting in golden hues. "I've realized that I was projecting my insecurities onto you," she said, her voice contemplative. "I think I was trying to fill a void instead of addressing my own issues. I'm sorry for that." I nodded, appreciating her willingness to reflect on her actions. I also realized that I was passive in our relationship. I didn't express my needs because I didn't want to rock the boat. We both have things to work on. Our shared vulnerabilities opened a door to deeper intimacy. We began rebuilding our friendship, one carefully constructed brick at a time. While we were still finding our footing, I could feel the connection strengthening. Then, one weekend, we decided to take a short trip to the coast, a place we used to visit often. As we walked along the beach, hand in hand, I felt a sense of hope washing over me. The waves crashed rhythmically against the shore, much like the ebb and flow of our emotions. "Do you think we can really make it work?" I asked, my heart pounding as I sought clarity in this moment of vulnerability. "I know we can," Lisa replied, her eyes locked onto mine, filled with conviction. "We just have to commit to being honest and present with one another." As we continued our walk, I could feel the distance between us shrinking. We were moving forward together, and I began to see a future where we could thrive, not just survive. But then came a moment I never expected. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Lisa stopped and turned to face me. "Jake, I want to ask you something," she said, her voice wavering slightly. "Sure, what's on your mind? Would you be willing to try dating again, like really dating?" Her question caught me off guard. It was a leap I hadn't considered, but as I looked into her eyes, I felt both excitement and fear. "Are you sure? I mean, we've been through so much." "I am sure," she said, her voice firm. "I want to take things slow, but I want us to be more than just friends. I want to explore our relationship again, but this time with open hearts." Her words filled me with a rush of emotions, hope, fear, and a lingering caution. But instead of shying away, I took a deep breath and replied, "Okay, I think I'm ready to take that step too. Let's see where this leads us." That night marked a new beginning for us. We walked back along the beach, hand in hand, a renewed sense of purpose guiding our steps. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but I realized that with effort and sincerity, we had the power to transform our relationship into something beautiful. As we moved forward, I embraced the lessons life had taught me. I had learned that love isn't just a feeling, it's a commitment to growth, vulnerability, and understanding. No matter what challenges lay ahead, I was determined to face them with Lisa by my side, ready to create a future built on trust, love, and resilience. The road had been winding and painful, but I knew that together we could navigate anything. And as we stood there watching the sun disappear into the ocean, I felt a profound sense of peace. This was where we were meant to be, and I had faith that we could rise from the ashes of our past, stronger than ever before.